It's likely on your mind, and it may have changed the way that you shop or go about your daily life.
Carjackings are a major problem in the Twin Cities. Hundreds of victims are dealing with the trauma. What's happening to solve the crimes, and who's committing them? WCCO's Jennifer Mayerle spent weeks asking those questions. She gives us the most comprehensive look at the problem that is plaguing our community.
Car pulls in, screeching to a halt, blocking my path to the entrance, and these three kids jump out. And the guy holding the gun started counting down 5, 4, 3.
He said, "Get out of the car," swearing at me, "Get out of the car, get out of the car." It pretty much just flung me down onto the ground. You just wonder what's going on when you're not safe in broad daylight.
We've repeatedly heard how a split second can change a life.
I bet you 14 to 16 years old, came up, had guns, like right into my stomach, and all I could look at was the gun.
Craig Betcher was one of the 755 victims attacked in the Twin Cities last year. We know stories like his well.
Obviously, they said, "Give us your keys, we'll kill you."
But what about the attackers? Are they running free, facing charges? You've been asking us, so we got to work tracking down records to offer the most complete investigative look yet.
Minneapolis police report 655 carjackings last year alone. They resulted in 91 arrests. At least one 18-year-old arrested 3 times. Our investigation found he was charged twice. According to MPD, at least 14 minors were arrested 2 or more times, ranging in age from 12 to 16.
While this whole thing is happening, I am absolutely in shock about how young one of these kids are.
112 cases in Minneapolis, or 17%, sent to the Hennepin County Attorney's Office for prosecution. Don't bother doing the math, the numbers won't add up. That's because police say some suspects were charged with more than one crime. Most were minors at 71 cases, 41 adult. Prosecutors charged 80% of the Minneapolis cases. Some are still pending. So what does all of that math mean? Of all the cases in Minneapolis in 2021, the total number that led to criminal charges, 13.5%. Across the river, 101 drivers were carjacked in St. Paul. 27 arrests, 4 of those re-arrests of a person for the same crime. During one police interview, a suspect said it was only a misdemeanor. Police clarified it's a felony. The suspect admitted, "Every time I get caught in a stolen car, they drop it down to a misdemeanor." St. Paul Police Assistant Chief Robert Thomaser says it's part of the problem.
There isn't a perception to not do this crime because people aren't worried about the consequences when they do.
30 carjacking cases in St. Paul went to the Ramsey County Attorney's Office for a charging decision. 17 were minors, 13 adults. Prosecutors charged 56% of the cases in St. Paul. That's about 17% of all carjacking cases in the capital city.
Why are so few being charged in both cities? Police and prosecutors agree it's a hard crime to gather enough evidence.
These things happen very quickly. Sometimes the people who are committing these crimes are wearing masks. Sometimes they just don't have the information that we need that could lead to an arrest or a charge. Just the fact that we don't have someone charged with a case doesn't always mean we don't know who did it.
Betcher says his carjacking changed his outlook.
Now I have to look at everybody as somebody who could threaten or kill me, instead of helping people.
He hopes there's a solution before more innocent people are hurt. In the Twin Cities, Jennifer Mayerle, WCCO 4 News.
What this data doesn't show is how many of those charged were convicted and their sentence. We are working on getting that information, and we will share it with you when we do.